Are you caught in the hamster wheel hustle, pouring your heart into your business, but you're too scared to take the leap into getting some serious funding? Well, you're not alone. Many entrepreneurs are held back by this common fear that the belief of getting business funding will wreck their personal credit, especially when we're talking about getting over $100,000 of funding. But it's a limiting belief that turns into a self-imposed barrier, stopping you from reaching your business's full potential. What if I told you that this fear is actually based on a common myth, that you can secure substantial funding for your business without actually putting your personal credit at risk? Well, you can. And it's not just possible, it's being done every day by successful entrepreneurs. This is where our fast funding formula comes in. It's not just about getting funding, it's about getting it fast, getting it cheap at 0% interest, and all without jeopardizing your personal credit report. You could be breaking free from the financial constraints of limited capital in your business and scale the smart way, which is funding your business's growth with the bank's money without any damage to your personal credit. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to take you through how it's possible to leverage the business funding in your business all without actually affecting your personal credit. We're talking about transformational growth inside your business, financial freedom, and doing it all with a peace of mind. So if you're ready to break free from those limiting beliefs and take your business to new heights, then let's dive in. So the first thing I'd like to go over is the fact that your business actually has its own credit report. So the same way that you have a social security number and all of your credit is attached to that, so you have a credit report with Experian, with Equifax, and TransUnion, your business has its own credit score and its own report with Experian Business, Equifax Business, and with Duns & Bradstreet, and it's all ran through the EIN number, the Employer Identification Number. So because of this, that means that you can build your business's credit, your business can qualify for funding, and it'll all show on the business's credit report. And since it's all being collected already somewhere else, it doesn't actually have to show on your personal. So that's why you can actually qualify for a lot of funding and use it through your business without actually affecting your personal credit report, because it actually won't show on your personal credit report. Most of the banks, the vast majority, will only report your business's funding through business credit cards, business loans, business lines of credit. Most of these will only show and report to your business's credit report. So that means that while you're qualifying for more funding, as you use the funding as well, so you can max out these cards, for example, and since it's all reporting to your business's report, none of it will show on your personal credit, and your personal credit wouldn't even drop by 1 point, even if you had everything maxed out on the business side. But know that by going through this entire process, your personal credit is completely separate. So you could get all the way up to $150,000 of funding, max out all the cards if you needed to for the time being as you grow your business, for example, or you're making investments, and none of that would affect your personal credit. So obviously this funding, you need to be smart with it, and you need to actually still make those on-time payments. If you do make mistakes and you do go into collection or charge-offs, you do go very, very late, that could potentially affect your personal credit since you are the guarantor. But as long as you stay on time and you're smart with this funding, your personal credit will stay completely separate. So you can leverage this funding to grow your business, scale your marketing, hire your team, do all of this. I recommend going after 0% funding as well, so that you can use this capital for up to 20 months, in some cases at 0 interest, and you can keep your credit clean. So before starting this actual funding process as well, I usually recommend actually cleaning up your personal credit so you get better results on the funding side of things. So you'll have first optimize your personal credit, then you go get the funding, and as you get the funding, your personal credit still stays clean. So in the future, if you want to get more funding, you still have that option because now you have that strong foundation. So that's how you can actually leverage this funding without affecting your personal credit. So although you are qualifying for business funding and all that funding is separate from your personal credit report, you do need a strong personal credit report and a good foundation to be able to qualify for the funding. And that's because when the banks extend out these loans, they need some kind of data to actually evaluate the risk. So if you're more established, you have 2 years of history, you can provide tax returns and bank statements, and they could weigh those data points a little bit heavier. However, if you're not quite there yet, they would have to look at your personal credit to actually make that determination. So what I recommend is to really optimize your personal credit before you get started by really building that strong foundation. And once you do have that prepared, then you can qualify for the funding. And something to know is that when you're qualifying for the funding, one important factor is that you do want to have lower than 3 inquiries on every single one of the credit bureaus. And that's because once you have more than 3 inquiries on a bureau, you're perceived as high risk because you might be desperate for some credit right now, and the banks would most likely automatically deny you. So I recommend cleaning up your credits. There's a lot of different strategies that work for that. And something to know as well is that because you're qualifying for business funding, the banks would be looking at your personal credit, as I mentioned, and they most likely will be putting an inquiry on your credit report when you go to apply. However, since these accounts are not actually showing on your personal credit report, you can actually remove all these inquiries. So what I usually recommend is to optimize your personal credit, build that strong foundation, leverage it to qualify for some funding. Once you go and submit applications that essentially stack up until you hit those 3 inquiries on each bureau, then you would go back, remove those inquiries, clean them up, and then you can go for another round of funding. So essentially, because you can remove these inquiries and proceed, you can essentially do as many rounds of funding as you need until you tap out of all the banks or you hit your funding goal. So it's really possible to go through multiple funding rounds. The inquiry removal process shouldn't take you longer than 2 weeks as well if you do it correctly. And this is a great perk of being able to qualify for business financing, for the ability to qualify for a large amount of capital without affecting your personal credit report. And when you do get that funding, you can remove the inquiries so that your credit at the end of the day looks the exact same as it did before. You have access to all this extra capital, and now you can really scale your business the smart way by leveraging this bank money that's cheap as well with the 0%. And now you can scale your ads, grow your team, and leverage this capital to build confidence in your business and hit that next level. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, drop some comments below, and be sure to follow my page so that you can see some more videos.